Hello, welcome to Steve McDonald's Arts and Crafts, and today what I'm going to be doing is I'm doing an experiment to see if you can use calcium carbonate, or limestone as it's more commonly known, in resin, because I want to carry on my series of checking to see if you can use things like marble powder, sand, plaster of Paris, cement, to see what the different effects are when you're making more of like a sculpture mould. So I'm hoping calcium carbonate is going to work out really well. I will link my other videos at the end of this video so you can check out on those. What I'm hoping this will do is it will give me really like a pale, marbly stone effect, but I'm not 100% sure how it will work out. I will link everything that I've used today in the description below using my affiliate links. So without too much further ado, let's get on.
So I've mixed up 3 teaspoons of the limestone into my resin, and I'm giving that a good old mix in. It did produce quite a fair few number of bubbles, but they did rise up really quickly. But it's had no other reaction whatsoever to the resin. It's not heated up or caused it to set really quickly. And I'm going to leave it now for 5 minutes before I pour it. So now I'm going to pour it, and I'm only going to pour in a third to start with in this mould, because this mould can trap bubbles. So what I'm going to do is just give it a bit of a squidgy widgy around here, nip the areas gently where the resin could trap bubbles, and just give that a squidgy widgy. Now fill it right the way up to the top, give it another little gentle, I should say, squidgy widgy here, because I don't want it plopping all out everywhere over my hands. And then I'm going to give it its final little top up, and I'll keep an eye on this for about 10 minutes just in case any more big bubbles come up to the top. And if not, I'll just leave this for 24 hours to cure, and then we can come back to it.
This is cured now, the limestone in this mould, so I'm quite looking forward to seeing how this comes out. This mould does generally demould quite easily. It did produce quite a few bubbles. And as you can see, the bubbles did rise to this bit here, but that's not a problem because I can just trim that off. I actually really like how that has come out. It does look like limestone, there is no doubt about it. I like the way it's finished off here. I will definitely be using this in a future project that I've got coming up. Now, I would just trim that off, and I would just use a knife and level that off. And because it's only been curing for about 24 hours, it will trim off fairly easily. I think if you let it cure up for longer than that, then the likelihood is it does make it a little bit more difficult. And what I will do is I will put this onto a base. And I have a lot of bases because every time I have any resin left over, I make bases for things. And before I pop it on a base, I always give it a bit of a sand first. If you're ever sanding resin, then always wear a mask. And that way you get a nice flat base. And then I can mount it on something. Now, I'm not sure if I want to mount it on a sand block. Oh no, definitely not that silver one. Translucent one. I quite like the translucent one. I quite like it on that one. So that's the one I'm going to mount it on. That base there. And if you look at that in comparison to the cement ones that I made, that's one I made out of cement. I will link that video for you. You know, I do think they come out and they look quite nice and stone-like. That's one I did with gold leaf. I think that's come out as well, really well. And I just use a 5-minute epoxy to mount these onto the bases. You could also in there mix some translucent colours with the limestone, perhaps put a bit of sand in it with to give it a secondary look. There are lots of different things that you could do with this. And if you put the sand in it, this is one I made with plaster of Paris. I do like this mould, as you can tell, because it gives a good real effect of how things look if they're made with stone pigments. I just want to say thank you to everybody that contributed through the Buy Me a Coffee link for my pressure pot. That's up and running now. I will be using that in some upcoming projects. I'm now saving for a 3D printer to do some exciting things with resin as well, and to be able to make moulds and different bits and pieces. So if you'd like to help support me get the 3D printer, then check out the Buy Me a Coffee link in the description below. Anybody who buys me a coffee that contributes towards the 3D printer, their names will go on the 3D printer somewhere as a thank you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. Links to everything that I've used today is in the description. And check out the video that's coming up next. I'll link the other ones that I've made where I've used different materials to make these different types of sculptures. Enjoy your resin. Take care. Bye.